What an angle. Good morning, fire breathers. So I am starting by showing you that there's a nail left on the wall from the people who lived here before. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have an extra whiteboard that I don't need to keep on the ground. So as I'm doing your video, I'm going to be looking up to the wall, and that's why. Look at all that. Woo! A lot of fun stuff planned today. And the whiteboard is set up very similar to my Gym Gypsy journal. Color coded. Guys, this is my life. So, let me make sure we're in. Perfect. I'm gonna put you in the dark one because my neighbor's outside. So, this is for the home track. 2019 0604 Bodyweight. Home, do your warm up, and then you have 2 rounds for time, and your movements are as follows. Double unders. So this here again is where I talk about how we're body weight only, no equipment needed, except for a jump rope. But if you don't have a jump rope, or you can't do double unders, RX for this, you can do penguin flaps. So when you're doing double unders, when I teach double under progressions, I think you can see my feet. I don't know. Let me move a little bit lower. Oh, you're fine. Okay. The difference between a single under and then a double under with that rope moving under your feet twice is a faster, tighter spin of the rope. It's also creating a little bit more space and more air underneath your feet. So penguin flaps are, if I were to do a regular jump rope, but without imaginary jumping, I would hit my legs once while I'm in the air. I can't do single unders. Double unders, each jump, you flap and hit your legs twice. Penguin flaps. Have fun with it. It absolutely gets your heart rate up exactly the way that double unders do. And this is a great skill progression for if you do ever end up with a jump rope in your hands, trying double unders. So do the number of double unders that it calls for, or that same number of penguin flaps. Total walking lunges. So you'll count each leg, big step forward, back knee to the ground, stand up. 1, 2. Now, from the side, our movement standard, what this looks like is you want to take a big enough step forward that your front knee does not go over that front toe. So big lunge step here, and my knee, of course you can't see it, but it's about midway through my foot. Drive off your back toe. So give yourself some momentum as you squeeze and pull with that front leg. Squeeze your butt, stand up top. You do not need to pause. However, that helps us keep our balance. And as always, I recommend with walking lunges, we're not defining our width. So to keep your balance, try to step in line with your hips, like you're lunging on railroad tracks, okay? So it's gonna feel kind of like you're zigzagging, but your midline staying center, and that's actually going to help you keep your balance. So here, here. You're not on a balance beam. You don't have to lunge on a balance beam. Sit-ups, standard sit-ups. If you would like to, or if you have to, pin your feet under an object, pin them under a couch. If you have dumbbells, you can stick your feet underneath the dumbbell handles and hold them. If you have a child or a friend to hold your feet, you can do that as well. Sit-up standards for this are just shoulders back down to the ground and pull shoulders over your hips. If you are familiar with and you would like to, or it's easier to open your knees up and do butterfly sit-ups, you can absolutely do that as well. It's not necessary though. Knees together, just shoulders as far forward as you can, reach past your toes. Lateral hopovers. So for these, you can use whatever you have available, whatever's easiest. So, like I have a PVC. If you have a PVC pipe, if you have a broomstick, a Swiffer handle, a rolled up towel, anything like that can work. And if you don't have an object or you're not quite comfortable with that yet, you can absolutely just use some sort of a line. So a piece of string, a shoestring. If you want to jump over the dividing line between rooms, just be careful if you're going on carpet. But a lateral hop over is you have your line, you're standing next to it, parallel, and you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it, and so on and so forth. Elbow planks. So you're gonna hold it for the amount of time that it's called for. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Usually we kind of squeeze our hands together, so that's perfectly fine. If you want them straight, that's fine too. Feet straight back, and then you don't want to sag. We want to try not to pick. We want a nice straight line, so don't tuck and drop your head. Neutral head, looking straight down at your hands, squeezing your glutes, squeezing your belly button up towards the ceiling, and then your heels are driving back towards that back wall. Nice, tight, and hold that plank. Fast feet, out, out, in, in. So again, don't really need anything or any objects to do this with. Just start here, feet underneath your hips, out, out, 1, out, out, 2, out, out, and 3. And that's your count, okay? If you wanna switch legs at any point, that's perfectly fine too. But that's your movement pattern, and it's basically a 4 count. So out, out, in, 1, out, out, in, 2, out, out, in, 3. Push-ups. Standard push-ups. On your toes. You do not have to go hand release, so your hands can stay on the ground. Legs straight back. Bend below 90 degrees. Full extension up top. For these, RX standard is not bowing, so keeping those quads and legs up off the ground, not letting yourself collapse down and then pushing up. Air squats. Feet shoulder width apart, chest up, core tight, hips back, all the way down below parallel and up, down, up. Full range of motion, good reps. Dips. So, if you have steps, if you have a bench, any sort of situation that you can put your hands up on something, I guess I'll just go here and do it. I don't think you can see, but down and up. If you don't have an object to do that with, going off of the ground is perfectly fine. Here. So lift, dip, and down. And shoulder taps are your final movement. RX for our shoulder taps are in a high plank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, scaling options. You can do all the reps, but do 1 round. Perfectly valid as an option. If you would like to still do 2 rounds, you can always reduce the number of reps. I would say reduce the number of reps evenly. So if you look at the pattern of how your movements change, I would say subtract 5 and go from there. So you'd start with 70, 65, 55, 50, and do it that way. For the double unders, you can just jump once and practice flapping the one time. If you're unable to jump, we can do marching in place for 3 times the amount of steps that your workout calls for. For the walking lunges, scaling the walking lunge movement is going to depend on what it is that you're scaling and why. So my personal favorite scale for walking lunges is actually to do step-ups for the number of reps. But if you need to, so say you're working on the single leg movement and the range of motion, you don't have a box or a step to step up on, you can hold like a door frame or an object and do reverse lunges just to practice that unilateral motion and assist you through that movement. And let's see, sit-ups, you can hold your legs and help you pull to sitting. If you are pregnant or you have a back condition that keeps you from laying flat on your back and flexing your spine that way, let me know. I can give you a standing ab substitution. Hop overs, if you are unable to jump, you can do a step over, just like this, 1, 2, 3, and just try to go as quickly as possible. The elbow plank, this one, again, depending on what it is that you're scaling and why. So if you're unable to hold it for the length of time, that's perfectly fine. Hold for 20 seconds, shake it off, re-hold for the remaining amount of time. However long it takes you is how long it takes you. If you are just unable to hold that position, get your hands up on something. So again, a couch that doesn't slide, chairs, bench, step, whatever you have around, and holding a plank like here would work for that. The fast feet, again, for this, a good scaling is just don't hop and just do with this motion and aiming to not make it a step, but wherever you're at with that, just step through it in that pattern. Push-ups. I got real nerdy about push-ups a couple videos back. And I used to do push-ups on my knees when I first started and progressed up through that way. I also have read a lot and I follow a lot of different gymnastics coaches that have talked about how doing push-ups on your knees actually kind of changes your body mechanics and doesn't help train you to do push-ups on your toes. So do them from your knees if you're comfortable with that. If that's too easy and you don't feel that you're making a progression to being able to do push-ups on your toes, what I would like you to do is to do an incline push-up. So again, like with the plank, if I'm here, I'm on my toes and doing a push-up, that's going to teach my body how to push my body weight. And eventually you'll go lower and lower and lower. So consider doing that as a push-up scaling option. Air squats. Air squats are functional. Arguably, probably the most functional movement that we have. I love to argue for burpees, but air squats, you're sitting down in a chair, you're sitting on a toilet. It's necessary for life. So again, what is it that we have to scale? If it's the volume, scale the reps, but everybody should be working towards being able to do a good form freestanding squat. If you're working up to that strength, again, hold an object to assist you. If you're working on your balance or to pull yourself up, that's perfectly acceptable. If you need to squat to a chair and stand up to assist you, that is also perfectly fine. Try to sit to an object that does get those hips below those knees, but gives you that tactile cue of now to stand up. So that's how you could scale that. Again, the dips, do them off the floor, do them off a bench. If you are unable to do that, if you don't have the mobility in the shoulders to pull back that way, you can just do overhead tricep presses. That's acceptable too. If you don't have that range of motion, you can just do kickbacks like this. Even not holding anything is fine, just getting that flexibility and range of motion in. And then for the shoulder taps from the floor as RX, if you go to a wall, you see me on a wall, I guess, sort of not, and practice doing them there. And again, working your way down to a lower angle here is perfectly fine, and then doing it on the floor. So, sorry my voice got a little low. The neighbor was like right outside the window watering, and I didn't want to be like, he doesn't speak English, so, but still, I just feel self-conscious sometimes. So, expat problems. All right, guys, keep up the good work. Welcome aboard if you're new. Any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. Love helping you out and assisting you. And yeah, check out.